Okay, so the start of every brisket trim, I look for the thinnest part of the meat. So this part is really, really thin, and this will burn in a very long cook. So what we're trying to do in a trim is we're trying to get rid of the parts that would definitely burn, and we'll use that for sausage. And we're also trying to get a thin layer of fat on the top, but not too much fat. So there's quite a bit of fat on this brisket I'm gonna have to trim off. So we'll start with this first cut. So what I'm doing right here is I'm trying to make sure that the brisket is at least about an inch thick in terms of the meat itself on that side of the brisket. And then up here, this is definitely gonna burn because it's kind of a little bit of a flap. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna take this off, and this makes excellent sausage right there. So we'll put these in the meat bucket right there. And then what I'm doing on this side is I'm taking off the fat cap, trimming that down to about a ½ inch to a ¼ inch on all sides of the brisket itself. I'm gonna flip this brisket around. I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. So you see this right here? This layer on the top right here needs to be about a ½ inch thick. So I would say around there is about right. So I need to take a little bit more off on each side. You see this side on this side, there's actually a very thick piece of fat that comes up where the point meets the flat. So I usually try to take as much of that off as I can, because otherwise it'll kind of be a little bit of a glob of fat. Not the best. So what we're doing now is we're basically preparing this so that each and every bite that you get at Kafi BBQ has a really nice amount of juicy meat, as well as a nice amount of caramelized fat on the very top. So we're designing it such that you get that complete bite in every meal that you got here. Also trying to do, we're trying to make this brisket as aerodynamic as possible so that the air flows all around it. It doesn't necessarily hit any giant spots. And those big spots is gonna be where the smoke will stall, and then it will sort of burn off that way. So we're good here. In the back here, we've got right here, there's a very, very hard chunk of fat. So I like to take a little bit of this off. It does render very nicely and basically melt into the bottom of the smoker over time. So you don't want to completely hollow this out, but you do want to take a decent amount of it off, because otherwise you're going to have very large chunks of fat in the finished product. And what I'm doing here in the back is I'm also cleaning up the bottom, the flat. So I don't want these sort of large strips of fat down here, because what's going to happen is they're going to stop the smoke penetration from fully going through. And what you want is you want that smoke ring on all sides. And there you have it. There's a perfectly trimmed brisket, ready to go and get salted, and then a day later, it'll be smoked.